Go ahead and start it up. I'm going to go ahead and we'll start it right there. Okay? No problem. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate it. No problem.
We're actually going to go ahead and start this meeting going. We're at about 2 o'clock. And so I want to thank you once again for another Santa Barbara Real Estate Investor Association meeting and for showing up. Looks like we've got just a little bit less people here than we normally have, but I suspect we may have some coming in as we continue on. So we may be small here, but we're big on the internet, right?
That's all that counts.
That's all that counts. So we're gonna make it happen. I want to thank you very much for showing up here today. We've got the pizza thing going. As you can tell, we don't want to miss out on that. She did tell me she'd turn it down. I think she forgot. But in any case, so we're back here at Rusty's Pizza, Rio and Bath, Santa Barbara, and we have got the main website. It's the Santa Barbara REIA. So you know, if you haven't been to that, please work your way back there. We've got benefits for being a member. And we've got Raul here today. He's probably the first time he's been here. He's found our organization from the internet, but not through the national. The national actually has links to bring us back to our organization. So there are national benefits, Home Depot, and different types of discounts, Roto-Rooter that you can get for being a member. That's $50 a year, so that's pretty inexpensive to be a member. I think, Mark, have you used your card at all for Sherwin-Williams for payment or anything?
Not lately.
Okay, but you do have the card, and it's there if you need to. Okay, so there's a few benefits for being a national member, but you don't have to be, okay? We do have a blog site, and so all the information about what's coming up on our next meeting and what's going to be happening and where it's all located shows up on the blog site. And I want to show you a quick little thing if I can manage to do this without getting too carried away here. Let's see. Okay. On the blog site, we have a link that will take us back to YouTube videos. So all the meetings that we have here are videoed, clip video, then I go back home and I kind of compile and chop them up because you can only have 10-minute segments up on YouTube. So all the information is up there, but I've had a lot of people say, well, I went to YouTube but I wasn't quite sure how to use it or how to access that information. So let's take a quick look, and we'll click on that link and see if it takes us over to YouTube. It does. And so normally I've got something showing up here. There I am. It's kind of like looking in the mirror, you see, 5 or 10 of you, right? We're doing the same thing. Up here is a favorites location. So if I've got some things that I really like personally, I put them in a favorites list. You can click on those, they come up, but you're going, well, where are the monthly meetings? Okay, that's under the playlist. So if you're out there, looking at this and wondering how to use this thing, you go over to the playlist, click on that, and there you have it. Each month, this was last month, the month before, and when you click on those, you'll see that they've all been chopped up. It's the same month, in 10-minute segments, so that's how you get to each individual one. All right? So if you're out there on the internet seeing one video wondering how to get to the rest of them, that's how you do it. Very easy, and it's all free. It amazes me how they can put that much information from millions of people around the world up there for free all the time. Okay, so speaking of free, we are free. You're not going to have to pay for any of the meetings here. You're not going to have to pay for anything but the national. If you decide to get into that, you don't have to. Blog site. Oops. Well. Okay. Make sure that this is actually working. Here we go. Okay. So that covers the YouTube videos that we've got up there. Everything goes up on YouTube. And then personally, I'm spending time on tax liens and deeds, and I'm working and studying through Sean Higgins and Tony Martinez. This is their website, their ultimate resource tool, URT. And you know, the funny thing about this is it was about $3,000 to purchase this so that I have access to everything that I need all over the nation to deal with tax liens and deeds. But the one thing that they didn't mention is that behind all this, and not at that website, another website, which is shjohnhigginslibrary.com, he's actually got hours and hours and hours of videos on marketing, tracking these tax liens and deeds down, mapping, all kinds of things that when I looked at it, they only give you 6 months on that website to deal with all the education. And I looked at it and I went, why didn't they even mention that? That's a big selling point in itself. I don't know why they didn't. But a lot of good information there. I'm strictly sticking with OCTs, meaning over-the-counter transactions, so I don't have to go out there and bid on anything. I just sit at home, I go through and look at different properties, tax liens and deeds, and if I like something, I can purchase it. You do have to do the research, you do have to do your due diligence and know how to go through and make sure that you don't have a gas station with leaky gas tanks. It's an EAP disaster waiting to happen. Because there are ways that you can get tripped up in this. But if you do your education and your homework, you're fine. It's not a big deal. So we're going to talk a little bit. Recently I had some tax liens redeemed. Florida is 18%. But because the contractor where I picked these properties redeemed it within, I think, about 40 days, there's a penalty by Florida that says you're going to have to now pay 5%. Okay? So if you were to do that and choose wisely every month and keep getting 5%, by the end of the year, 12 months, you'd have a 60% return on your liens, which is not bad for a tax lien. Okay? But of course, it's even better if you get into tax deeds because you actually own the property. You can pick up tax deeds for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, give them to a realtor, let them sell it in whatever state. That's my plan. I don't want any long-term rental properties. I've got enough of them right now. Don't want to get more. And just let them get rid of it, turn this stuff over, get 10, 20, 30, 40,000 back, you know, as profit, and continue on. Okay? So, one of the things that I did kind of recently, and not so recently, I bought a tax lien. We've got AJ here that I want to introduce a little bit. What I got some time back was an LLC, an IRA LLC, for my son and daughter, Michael and Alana. And part of that, in the beginning, was a way to kind of do equity stripping on the rental properties, throw all the money in there, protect it, do some other things, and have a bunch of other stuff going on. And eventually I went, you know what, I really don't want to equity strip and end up foreclosed because the property is way upside down. I just as soon pay them off. I know there's some liability of having properties that are cash, you know, that are equity and no leverage, you know, there's no mortgage on it. But in any case, so I decided here more recently that I'm going to go through and use this IRA LLC to build up my kids' retirement through buying tax liens and deeds. And I mean, who wouldn't want your mom and dad building up your retirement? In my retirement, I can spend my time building theirs plus doing other things, okay? But this was an interesting IRA LLC, and AJ is going to talk to us about what he's got. I didn't realize some of the things the issues with it when I got it. So what I found out was I was going to pull cash from both of my kids' IRAs that I set up for them. And they're self-directed IRAs. They're after tax, which means as we build this up, they'll never have to pay a dime as the money comes back out once they get to be 60, because it's all tax-free, because it was paid tax before you went in there. So the idea isn't to shove a whole bunch of money into one of these, it's to get some money into one of these and then build that up. Because anything that you build up is interest, or is investment income, not earned income. You're not pushing a bunch of money in there. You get some in there, let it build up.
Ready, please, Cherry.
And then they can pull it out later. Well, what I found out with this particular IRA LLC is that once it's funded, like I take maybe $5,000 from Michael's and $5,000 from Alana's and put it in there, I can go to work, get a checking account. I'm working with Montecito Bank and Trust. And so I can go out and buy these tax liens and deeds. And the nice thing about this, setting up an account, a checking account, is that all these places around the nation are doing ACH, which is automated clearinghouse. so that you don't have to write checks back and forth. So before, you'd have to go to the post office, pick up your check, oh gee, I got money, or you'd have to go there and mail something off. Now you can just sit at home, they extract it directly from your bank account, and then as soon as it pays off, they throw it right back into your bank account. So you don't really have to go anywhere, but just enjoy being home, right? Well, what I found out was once that money was put into their account, I could use that account, that LLC, for 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, 50 years, whatever. But once I decided to take the money out and give it back to them, you had to shut down that LLC account. Which means if I didn't realize that in the beginning, I could have said, well, I think I'll just take 1,000 out right now and I'll take some more out later. And it would, later would have been too late.
Sophia, your is ready, please.
Would have been what?
It would have been too late. I wouldn't have been able to go back to their IRAs and pull more money out and stick it into this thing. It's a one-time thing. You fund it one time, then you build it up however you want for as long as you want, 30 years or whatever. And then when you're done, you pull the money back out, divide it 50-50, give it to each of them, and then you shut down the LLC. It's no good anymore. It's done. I had no clue that's what I bought when I bought this thing 5 years ago. Okay, I do now, and thank God I asked enough questions as I went through so I could fund it properly in the beginning, because you can't put any more money into it once you funded it. You can only fund it once, and you can only take the money out once, and then you have to shut it down and it's dead. So we're going to talk to AJ when he gets up here and find out what the difference is between the IRA LLCs that he's offering and what I got for my kids. This is great for my kids, be great for anybody's kids, because you're not going to do anything else with it anyway. Now, what I'm doing on the outside here with the tax liens and deeds is doing accounts for people on their personal accounts and their business accounts, but I want to set something up for their IRA accounts. Okay? This IRA LLC that AJ has to talk to us about may not be, what I need to do this. I don't know. I've been told so far, you just need a standard LLC, and then you can go to Equity Trust or Intrust or anybody else. They're not all going to accept it. Some are going to say, no, we're not going to take that. But if you can get 3 or 4 or 5, then you can always direct people back to it. If they have their funds in a custodian account with their IRAs, and it won't work for what I'm doing, they can always roll some of that money out into a custodian account that can. And when you roll money, you're not funding it. You have a limit of $5,000 per year or whatever, 6. It's not like you're funding it, you're just rolling. So that's not a big issue. If somebody had $100,000 account, they could roll out, 10,000 or 20, put it in another one, and you're not really funding, so it's not a big issue. You can have 5 or 10 of these custodial accounts, okay? But you want to be careful as you're going through and making the choices on these IRA LLCs, what you're doing and what companies you're working with as far as the custodian accounts, okay? So we are going to have AJ come up here. He's going to talk to us. He is from a company called Self-Directed IR Pros, and I can tell from talking to him already, he's been working in around this stuff longer than a couple of weeks. He's got some good experience. So AJ, I want to thank you. Why don't you come on up here? Thank you, AJ, for showing up and being here. Thank you very much, AJ.
Pleasure to be here.
Whoops, I'm going to set you up over here for your...
Good afternoon, everyone. I was talking to Dan yesterday and on the drive up. I mean, Santa Barbara, this is amazing. The coast, the whole way up, and he asked about traffic, and I said, thank God it was not typical California traffic. I mean, it was really just clear and moving. I didn't hit 1 bit of traffic, and I just had this amazing view of the whole. So afterward, he asked, are you going to stick around for a little bit? I'm going to sort of pile through this. I've got maybe 20 minutes of information, 25, and then I'll have time for Q&A. And I am going to stay as long as I can this afternoon because I do want to sort of walk downtown and just enjoy Santa Barbara. This is amazing. Okay, my full name is John Luzibo, and some people, it's a tongue twister, it's a mouthful. AJ works just fine. I'm a self-directed consultant, work for Self-Directed IRA Pros, and what we try to do at Self-Directed IRA Pros is teach people how they can use their retirement accounts so that they can invest in real estate as well as other non-traditional assets such as precious metals like gold, and even own businesses in their IRA. The goal that I have for all of you is, or my desire is that you complete these